Spirit moves me, I film whatever it is that's come to my mind. Today I was going to talk about life anyway. And when I put on my phone, the first thing that came up was a video by a young girl. And I was moved by this video. She was asking very important question, a question that most people would ask, okay? A lot of us ask all the time, most of the time. Well, the question was, where was God? Where is God? She was quite passionate about it. She was asking where was God during the transatlantic slave trade? Where was God when people were packed like sardines and treated like animals? Where was God when black babies were being fed to crocodiles just for entertainment of the white folks? Where was God when they were lynching young black men? My goodness, the list was endless. And I thought, okay, I mean, she has every right to ask where was God. Unfortunately, oh dear, I had to go to church, and so I switched the video off and couldn't get it back. I couldn't remember what it was called. Anyway, it got me thinking. And I thought, oh, before I start, let me tell you, my favorite book in the Bible is Job. Do you believe it? My favorite book in the Bible is Job. Job asked these questions, and friends ask me these questions. They say, how can you believe in God if he allows this and if he allows that? Okay, people, I don't know about allowing. Number one, we all know we have free will, right? We all like to do things our way. We all like to think that we have the answers to everything. I don't have the answers here, but I can tell you how I answer this question to me, for myself. Because this is why we have free will, okay? You can accuse God as much as you like, but you can't hear him. He's not standing in front of you. And I tell you, if he was standing in front of you, it'd be quite scary, okay? So I look at life. For example, the owner of a great big company decides to give a challenge to his staff. He employs thousands of people, but he needs good people now to run the company. Okay, he needs to taper them down. So he gives them a challenge. I'm just saying this off cuff. This is just off my head, okay? He gives them a challenge. And for God, the challenge is life. The challenge is life. Trust me, the challenge is life. And if you don't think life is challenging, then you're not living. Because there is good and bad, there's up and down, there's beginning, there's end. We're born, we die. The minute we're born, we begin to die. We're looking to die. Okay? So this head of this company has decided to give them the chance, his staff the chance to prove themselves, so they can get either promotion, wage rise, etc., etc. I hope this makes sense to you. Makes sense to me. Anyway, you know that among those will be people who will be cutthroat. There'll be those who will scheme the demise of others, even their death and their failure. Yeah? There are people who are just cruel, wicked, and there are people who would be honest, and it's not going to be easy for them, because then they have to face the challenges of people who are just wicked, who don't actually want to work hard. No, they just want to have fun doing this, and at the end they want to be paid a lot of money. They want to be promoted, don't they? Well, that's what we do. Okay, so in life, if you look at that, God has employed the human race. Okay, we're all on this earth because we've been given a challenge. The challenge is life. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? You see, I personally believe that this is not it. We have a spirit living in us. We have free will. We can do whatever we like. Great. Sounds good, doesn't it? But you and I know there's no such thing as a free lunch in life. Seriously. Nothing comes free. Nothing comes free. And your life does not come free. If you think it comes free, then there's something wrong. How can something as special and as wonderful as life be free? I don't think so. Not in my opinion, anyway. Whatever you need, you have to work for. If you're an athlete, you have to work so hard. You have to compete. You have to be the best. You have to literally be aggressive. You have to be, okay? So this is what happens even with life. At the end of it, there is a price to pay. There is a reward. If running a race can have a reward, running a good life must have a reward, right? Well, I think so. I am so happy to have lived into my 70s to see how rewarding certain plans can be and how damning certain plans can be. And it amazes me that I'm not going off subject. This is all related. We're talking about life here. It amazes me that people actually believe that they can have fun. Okay, when you're young, of course, have fun. But don't have too much fun because you pay the price. Okay, you do the drugs will do you. Oh yeah, you do the alcohol will do you. You do too much food will do you. You do too much water will do you. So when you ask, where is God? Well, he's watching. Of course he is watching. He should be watching. Can you imagine? I often think if God answered all my prayers, there'll be chaos in the world. Seriously. Because he'll be taking something from somebody else to give to me. Or he'll be taking something from me to give to somebody else. That's not fair. I want an equal playing field. If I work hard, please reward me in your own time. That's always my prayer. Okay? I never say, where is God? I asked that question many years ago when I lost my brother in a plane crash. And I began to read the book of Job. And I was very, very grateful for the book of Job. Because I realized that we're not entitled. So this young lady who was asking, where's God? Well, you're not entitled, okay? You're not entitled to have a good life. You're not entitled for God to answer all your prayers. We are doing wicked things to each other. We are doing wicked things to each other. We will pay the price. Oh, believe me, we will pay the price. Either in this world or the next, because your spirit lives on. You've got to believe your spirit lives on, surely. Because me, I am a spiritual being on a physical journey. When I close my eyes and I imagine my form, you know, I find it sometimes difficult to actually map out where my hands begin, where my fingers end, where my toes. Seriously, I find it difficult. And so I say to myself, you are part of this great big universe. And that's how big you are. You can be small. I can be small. Depends on what I do with myself. Okay? I think the universe watches everything we do. It sees everything we do. We're part of the universe. Don't kid yourself by thinking you're an entity on your own. Oh no. Well, I don't know. You may be, but I am not. I like to be part of the universe. When I talk into the heavens, especially when I'm in distress or when when I need something, I want something to happen. I don't demand it. I don't expect it. But it'd be nice to have it. And so I keep on asking until the universe says, oh, here you are, for goodness sakes, I've heard you. I say the universe because some of you don't believe in God. That's okay. But God hears. See, in the Bible, the Lord Jesus gave an example of a woman who wanted justice, a widow, and the judge wouldn't, you know, give her any attention. And she asked and asked and asked until she exhausted him. And then she got the help she needed. And I thought, so that's how it works. I think I'm going to ask. I will tell you something. I will share something with you right now. When I got married, first time, I was very young. And my husband had been twice married. And I'm a Catholic. And of course I wanted to get married in the Catholic Church. But it wasn't allowed because my husband was twice married. And so I went to the priest to see what could be done. I didn't like his solution. The answer is no. Or otherwise, if you can prove the other marriage, I'm thinking there's 2 marriages and children, 4 children in tow, okay? And I thought, no, wait a minute. You're talking to the secretary. Take this case to the top. Speak to your God, your creator. He's the one that makes the decisions. Okay, so this is what I did. I had the habit of fasting every Friday. Anyway, from a young age, my mother started myself and my siblings on this fasting thing. It's a day of prayer. It's a day of abstinence. It's a day of, I guess it's just bringing my atonement. It's a day of atonement, okay? So I had done this for so many years. So when the priest said that we couldn't get married in the church, I took my case to God. And I said to him, when it pleases you, there's 3 things we do, especially in the Catholic Church. You give thanks, you praise, you confess your sins, and you glorify the name of God. So I confessed my sins. Oh yeah, there were many, like all of us. Little white lies, be married in registry office and not in church, according to God's law. Different things, okay? A child out of wedlock, with my husband, but, not married in the Catholic Church, out of wedlock. Even before we got married in the registry, okay? Here I am, confessing my sins before you. So I fasted every Friday. I prayed every Friday. Remember, the Lord said this woman absolutely exhausted the judge, and he answered her request and gave her the justice she wanted. So that's what I did. Oh boy, did I fast every Friday, and I waited. The other thing is, the Lord said, be still and know that I am God. So Patty waited. I waited and I waited. 10 years. 10 years. 10 glorious years it took before the Lord said, whatever it is that child wants, just give it to her. The long short of the story is that we got a special dispensation to get married in the Catholic Church 10 years later. And guess who we got the special dispensation from? Pope John Paul. To me, now a saint. Okay. And we got the special dispensation because we met a wonderful, wonderful bishop called Bishop Tripp. Chance meeting. Told him our problem. He took it on, and 2 years later, he came back with a special dispensation from Pope John Paul. At our church wedding was a Canon Davis, Monsignor Reynolds, and Bishop Tripp. That's how God answers prayers. I wasn't entitled, but I hoped he was listening, and he was listening. So the scholar that said, where is God? He takes everything in God's time. Yes, there were terrible atrocities during slave trade, during slavery. Like she said, throwing babies to the crocodile. Gosh, can you imagine throwing black babies to crocodiles? That's evil. That is evil at its... No, they were worse, actually. Worse happened. They would bury, mostly men, sometimes women, in the ground with their heads sticking up, and they used them for bowling practices until the brain shattered. This is a human doing to human. There is so much because I studied the history of slave trade. Oh boy, operating, get this, actually operating on a woman without anesthetics. Oh boy. No, just, most of the, I listened to her and I thought, honey, she was so beautifully turned out. And I thought, yeah, where was God? That cosmetic you're wearing, that comes from cruelty. That beautiful hair straightening thing comes from scientific studies and findings and creations that come sometimes from cruelty. God is watching. He is watching. All the things that we have, oh boy, everything comes from him. And so if this young lady ever gets to watch this video, I'll tell you, God is there. God is watching. God is powerful. He created us and is giving us free will. Okay? The free will makes us a little bit, just tiny little bit more than animals. And we do behave worse than animals. Do you know what I mean? We educate each other so we can control. We do strange, selfish things. But God is watching. I can't tell you. The Lord is watching. He never misses. So don't say, where is God? He is there. He is right there in you. And he's answering you. He's not angry. Your question is valid. It is valid because to us it's amazing. But don't forget, inside you there is good and evil. Remember when you were bitching about that girl? Or when you were gossiping about somebody, or when you were involved in a gossip, when you're laughing at somebody else's demise? We all do it. We all do it. We've got the free will. Okay? That's okay. It's not as bad as throwing babies to the crocodile, but you're not coming out shining bright. You know what I mean? Without blemish. And God is watching. He's watching you. He's watching me. And on Judgment Day, those people will stand in front of him. People who did such cruel things, lynching young men for sport and things like that. Look at the Holocaust, 6 million Jews. Come on. The people, I don't know how. I mean, anyway, it's beyond understanding. Don't even try and understand how any human can do that. But I can promise you, there's retribution, there's Judgment Day. The spirit gets judged. On this world, there is heaven and there is hell. There is God, as you asked, where is God? But you didn't ask, where was the devil? Because he was busy. You didn't ask, child, where was the devil? That's the question you should have asked, okay? Because if you're asking where was God, you go, well, the devil was very active. The Lord should have rebuked him. That's what you should have said. The Lord should have rebuked him, and he will, and he does. But wait and see, because history changes. History is like a ball that rolls, okay? You see, all that slavery, all those things, those slaves were there to create something in the future. And the future is coming. It is arriving. The future never stops. So don't think your question was wrong. It was not wrong. I know you were passionate about it, and most people thought, used it to say, oh, where are the Bible-carrying Christians? Quite right too, where are the Bible-carrying Christians? But they were not the ones that were throwing babies to the crocodile. As a matter of fact, I remember a priest, it wasn't a priest, sorry. Somebody said to a very famous man who was Catholic, and he said to him, for somebody who goes to church, you're absolutely impossible to deal with. He said, madam, imagine what I'd be like if I wasn't going to church. Well, on that note, I'm going to say, everyone, may God fill your years with days. May God fill our years with days. May God help us, please, to number our days, that we may live a long, fruitful life to the glory of his name. Love you guys. Everyone, take care. Bye.